Hello, all our friends and students and members of our great community all around the world. With great joy, we welcome you here into the library of l'École des Arts Joailliers here in Paris, in our new home at the Merci Argenteau Hôtel Particulier. And it's my great honor and pleasure to introduce and present to you a glowing light of the world of art history research, Sungmoon Cho. I'm honored to say is my new friend because we know each other quite recently. Sungmoon Cho has done her doctorate already at this young age on Jean Lus, and she has a book on Jean Lus which is available online, and she's going to give us loads of insights today on how the pearl was the queen of Art Deco. Our discussion today is really that. We've been developing this for months. It's all original work that we created as an effort of joy together here in the middle of this school, which is here to share with you around the world all these fabulous messages. Let's jump right in and find out exactly how the pearl is the queen of Art Deco. The fact is that all around the world, if we look at this poster, we can get almost the whole message of our whole discussion today by looking at this poster. This is an advertising work of art made for Van Cleef & Arpels to talk about pearls during the period when really Paris was the capital of pearls. Our exhibition, which broke records for the school, just closed, and our dear friends Clara Gonnet and Michiko Ishiguro are going to give you links so that you can look back at the virtual visits that were given of this exhibition so that you can revisit that while we talk about what we learned from that exhibition. Really, literally, in this year, Paris was this capital of pearls. And you can see in this gorgeous poster, which inspires the imagination, the pearls, a rope, a sautoir, which becomes so much, we're going to talk about that, so much the icon of the pearl as the queen of Art Deco. It's circling the globe as if this lady threw it around the globe and perfectly landing on the Place Vendôme column, because of course Van Cleef & Arpels is on the Place Vendôme, and Place Vendôme is really the beating heart of the world of French jewelry. And we can also notice that even the black and white ring that she's wearing, the long dangling earrings, the accumulated bracelets. We're going to go into all of that today, and it really sets us off for our discussion perfectly. We're going to find out how We're going to look at how Paris was really the center of this perlomania and this quest for modernity, and how pearl was the perfect mark and icon of that. We're going to look at America to see why that's a story of aspiration and expansion. We'll find out why, because America did not participate in the 1925 exhibition, and we'll talk about why. And then finally, because this is an all around the world, and there's no Art Deco without Asia, we'll talk about that. There's just no Art Deco without Asia. We're going to talk about the dialogue between eras of Art Deco and Asia, especially thanks to some original research that Moon has done. Moon, tell us about this marvelous slide and how this expresses how perlomania was born.
Yes, so the Art Deco, although the Art Deco style is officially associated with the year 1925, the year of Paris International Decorative and Industrial Art, the origins of Art Deco actually go back to the 1910s. So you see here, necklace by Georges Fouquet, full mulberry necklace, was created in 1912, and it beautifully illustrates the transition from the Art Nouveau to Art Deco. The enameled leaves in pastel and very pale tones are shaped in curves and counter curves, the hallmarks of Art Nouveau. But the flowers are composed of seed pearls, small pearls less than 2 millimeters, and arranged in geometrical and symmetrical way, which is the features of the Art Deco. So it shows the transition of the two styles. And on the right, Georges Barbier, one of the leading, very sought-after illustrators in Paris in the 1910s, created this invitation card for the Cartier house for an exhibition held in the Cartier's boutique Rue de la Paix in 1914, showing an exceptional collection of precious gems and pearls inspired by antique decadence. And here, as early as in 1914, Georges Barbier features all the key elements of the Art Deco style. The contrast of colors, red, white, black, and the symmetrical design, and also the inspirations from the ancient Greek, such as the columns and the caryatid figures, which is a female figure sculpted in the ancient Greek architecture. And you see also the panther, which would become Cartier's iconic animal later, and here it appears already in 1914. And in this very avant-garde and very modern image, the center is occupied by the pearls. The caryatid female figure is wearing a sotua on very long necklace. They could measure up to the 2 meters, so which would become the iconic fashion trend later in the Art Deco era. Here are some other graphic and jewel artworks from the 1910s showing the emerging new French aesthetics. In the center, again, Georges Barbier shows a wide range of influences that laid the foundations of Art Deco. You see, again, the very Greek-like female figures, pouring water, and the draped gown, like a Greek-style draped gown. But the shell-shaped fountain behind is rather inspired by 18th century French Rococo style. And there is also a hint of Oriental influence in the feathered like head ornament. So it's the mixture of very eclectic styles mixed into the Art Deco style in these illustrations by Georges Barbier for the Gazette du Bon Temps in 1914. On the left, we have again the Oriental influences in this polyrips brooch with carved emerald and this feather-like head ornament shape in general overall silhouette. Polyripe was one of the pioneer artists who kind of created the Art Deco movement in the 1910s. So he features here many characteristic of the Art Deco, like the use of the geometry and the combination of the colors, quite new back then, which is green, blue, and white. And furthermore, just a word about Polyripe, because we'll mention again him later. He was a very multi-talented artist. He created not only jewels, he created jewel for the Robert Linsler house, but he also designed the dress and wallpapers, and he was also art director later in Hollywood.
And for that mask, it's very interesting. Could it be Greek? Could it be ancient Greek? What's important for us is look at the graduation work of the pearls for the hair. You can't have all those pearls to do the sorting that it takes to make that graduated natural pearl hair on that mask if you didn't have Paris as the city of pearls.
Yes. So at the exhibition of Paris exhibition in 1925, there were many locations where we could admire jewelry art. One of the main ones was this pavilion of merchant of diamonds and precious stone and pearls. It was just next to the Invalides, so at the very heart of the Paris exhibition. It was kind of a very small jewel-like pavilion. The visitor could not enter, but they could admire from outside. Workshops set inside, such as the workshop for the drilling pearls. So we could admire the gesture of the artisan drilling pearls, which is a very specific technique. And there was also a display of very exceptional gems inside this pavilion. Another major locations for the jewelry art was the section class 24 inside the Grand Palais. There also we could find major jewelries with pearls. Here we have two examples. One is from Rojanet's house, using this exceptional or extraordinary Baroque pearl weighing more than 720 grains. And on the right, you have a brooch by Dizozua House, which was a small, very avant-garde Parisian jewelry house. And they showed at the exhibition this very graphic brooch, playing on the contrast between the hard, cold charms of diamonds and very warm allure of pearls.
The fact is, you mentioned the Class 24. Class 24 actually means the giant room inside, the giant space inside Grand Palais, the place where the jewelers were. This was kind of a pantheon of jewelers striving to get into that place. And we're looking at something that's very famous, is the Berenice. She's named Berenice because Siegel and Stockman actually made these wax figures and gave them names. The Berenice, who's wearing spectacular parure set involving emeralds of Cartier jewels. And they're very, very famous, especially for the emerald that's now called Berenice, which is currently, you can see it, it's part of the Cartier collection now, and you can see it at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London right now. But let's focus on the pearls. Let's notice that we don't have that piece without the pearls. And while we're saying that, let's look at the right at what's called l'allée de la parure. So you have more than 70 designers, couturiers, showing off their wares with these lifelike models inside this fabulous space in the Grand Palais. And every single one has pearl necklaces. On the left, we have the pavillon d'élégance. And let's take before we go on to move, let's take a close look. Do you notice all the pearls? You see the pearls in the diadem. You see the pearls in the devant corsage. You think of 18th century jewelry. And if you look in the mirror on the right of that picture, you see this giant, fabulous tassel with dangling pearls in a pom-pom style, completely inspired by India. We'll talk about that later. But when we talk about the pavillon d'élégance, we have to also think about what the kinds of jewelry. Remember that Moon showed you a piece that was by another jeweler that showed the green and the white and the pearls and the diamonds? Well, in this slide, what we're really looking at is Art Deco expressed in three ways that all come together to define what it is. And they all are involving geometry. In the middle, if we look at the poster is almost a cubist work of art, but with the pearl floating right in the middle of it. The graphics are exactly the graphics of the period, but we now know that from looking back. At the time, it was called modern style. It's now that we look back and see it that way. On the left is perhaps my personal favorite to express both the importance of pearl and what Art Deco was. Yes, it's one pearl. It's one unbelievable pearl. The mollusk is not interested in making perfect drop pearls. So you have to have really thousands to be able to understand to get that one pearl. And let's look at the brilliance cuts. It's only since 1919 that Tolkowski invented the brilliant cut. Let's look at the graduated baguettes. Those are absolutely of the 20s. You didn't use baguettes before then. And let's even think about on the right, the geometry, the juxtaposition, which could almost make you think of skyscrapers, using the diamonds and the pearls and the emerald. But let's also think of the use. In both cases, these were used on the shapeless garçon dresses. Now women have cut their hair. They've thrown away the corsets. They have bare arms. They have the garçon shapeless, smooth, supple dresses. And they want pieces like this to set them off.
So along with the geometry, another emblematic features of the Art Deco style is the chromatic contrast, especially black and white, two colors which were dominant in the dress, evening dress of that era. So you see here on the left, anonymous bracelet uses the pearls as a white aspect of the pearl paired with baguette cut onyx, forming trapezoid shape in the center of the bracelet. And on the left, Van Cleef's Arpels vanity case is also composed of black and white. The four sides of the vanity cases are painted with black enamel, whereas the top is entirely covered with seed pearls, white seed pearls, and all around the seed pearls there are small cut diamond which came to enhance the discreet charm of the pearls. So they are very emblematic examples of the use of black and white in the Art Deco jewelry.
And as we're celebrating the 100th anniversary of Art Deco, we also have introduced a new course that Moon and I teach that's in 3 parts that goes greater into detail. And we love this bracelet on the left because it's a French jeweler. It's not any specific, so Van Cleef & Arpels, absolutely, but a French jeweler.
Yeah.
Because France
Any anonymous, yeah.
And here, couture. We're going to look more at the pavillon of elegance. We're talking about the whole lifestyle of this idea of lifestyle and modernity. A bayadère, it's really completely a couture element that envelops the whole lady's shoulders and neck and dangles down with thousands, probably, of exquisite, tiny natural seed pearls. In the middle, those are spectacular natural pearls flowing and dangling. So as you would dance the Charleston, it would move. And on the right, Du Sausois, who becomes re-famous again because of Andy Warhol, which we talk about in the course quite a bit. Du Sausois, look at the graduation of those perfect natural pearls. It stupefies pearl experts when they come and see it in real life. And it's a tie, it's a cravate. So this could be worn by the most modern of ladies, really identifying and signifying their choice in the way they live.
Yes, so as you could see, from the 1910s throughout the 1920s, there was a real phenomenon of pearlmania. So pearls were everywhere, not only on the earring, necklace, brooch, but also, as you could see, on the pins and evening bags. These kind of evening bags reflect in particular a new socializing form of ritual emerging in Paris during the interwar period with the introduction of new alcohol cocktail coming from America. So there was new ritual taking place between 4 and 6 p.m. So there was a cocktail party. There were a whole kind of objects that were invented for this event. A cocktail set with shaker and a cocktail dress, which was shorter than evening gowns. And the essential, indispensable accessory was this kind of evening bag. And pearl again added a touch of elegance on this indispensable accessory. You could see on the poly hips evening bag, the clasp consists of 2 cross pearls, and the evening bag by Van Cleef & Arpels is entirely made of small seed pearls. They are meticulously drilled and sewn on a silk backing.
And exactly, when we talk about pearls and high fashion, we look at a queen of high fashion, we have to take a quick look at this painting. Here is Jeanne Lanvin. Here is Jeanne Lanvin as she is the reigning queen of fashion. This is a painting made for her daughter, Marguerite. Guess what? Marguerite means pearl. Everyone knows the logo for Lanvin perfume. It's the mother and the daughter, and it actually was designed by Paul Leribe, the logo. Here she is, the choice for her portrait. She's like a queen. The necklace, the pearl necklace is the center of everything, isn't it? She's serene, she's regal. At 13 years old, she was a delivery person for a milliner. At 18 years old, she opened 2 rooms in an attic on Marché Saint-Honoré. At 22 years old, she had her maison. 186 years old last year, the oldest still running maison of couture. On the right, here's an example of what she invented. The jewel dress, robe bijou. Those are pearls sewn onto the dress for a famous opera singer, La Cavallini. And of course, she has her pearl diadem too. Jeanne Lanvin is a perfect incarnation of what the pearl meant in this period, as are Josephine Baker, always and forever. Josephine Baker didn't just be a marker, didn't just be in history and be important in history, she created history. We could go on and on about how she created history. 2 images there before we look at Brigitte Helm. On the left, Josephine Baker as a diva of the 20s. The simple short hair, pasted back, lacquered, the black dress, and ropes of pearls. So there she is as a woman who has come to her own, who's going to become a citizen in France, who loves her 2 loves, as her famous song is, Paris and her birth country. In the middle, she's a goddess. She is the muse. She is the muse of the period. She's the muse of the Jazz age. She chooses to actually clothe herself in ropes of pearls. She's discreetly covered in the pearls and a piece of silk. She has the lacquered curls of of Art Deco. She has her big iconic hoop earrings, and then she stares at us. Of course, Heineke Höne is one of the greats. Moon and I had a chance to go to see in Milan an exhibition of just Heineke Höne's work, which is unbelievable. And Heineke Höne graciously gave us this high-def image for this talk. Brigitte Helm, Templier, l'argent, money. Raymond Templier is one of the great monuments of Art Deco. He was a copious designer, and he designed, as did many, for film. Film is the emerging definer of popular culture. That lady, Brigitte Helm, in argent, money, is wearing a steel helmet with rhinestones on it. She's wearing 2 Empire State Buildings earrings. Everyone sees that's architecture. Is one of our favorite discussions is French jewelry and New York architecture. And she's got a complete pearl dress. It says it all, doesn't it? The sublime photogenic gem.
Yes.
But also, pearl can democratize, can't it?
It is. And the pearl is maybe unique and truly democratic precious gems. Thanks to the imitation pearls invented in Venice in the 16th century, but also thanks to the cultured pearls invented at the very end of the 19th century by the Japanese innovator Kokiji Mikimoto. So thanks to this kind of inventions, pearls became, during the interwar period, the fashionable element accessible to all. So it adorned not only Marquise de Sasson, but also Miss Tanguette. Miss Tanguette was a very famous musical star. She was kind of France's counterpart to Josephine Baker. And she invented this figure of garçon, the fashionable young modern woman, that the image that she spread out during her tours in South America in the 1920s. And she lit up the stage of Moulin Rouge and the Folies Bergère from the late 19th. And she always wore several pearl necklaces, which became kind of her iconic image, as you could see on this poster. And also all the fashionable Parisian young women wear very long sautoir, pearl sautoir, as you could see on this portrait of Madame Plangy by Kees van Dongen. So he painted a lot of these young, fashionable, boldly dressed with a plunging neckline young women, and they are all always wearing this iconic Parisian accessory, which is a pearl necklace.
And no matter who it is, you had to have your pearl, including men. So in this case, we have 2 kings one king of science, Dr. Boucard, and one literally the king of pearls. He was decorated by the French Republic for all that he did. What do they both choose? And they're very different portraits. Leonard Rosenthal, King of Pearls, you can find out all about that in the link that Michiko Ishiguro and Clara Gonnet will give you. He was the King of Pearls. He developed the network between the Middle East and Paris, the friendship, the partnerships of alliances that made Paris the capital of pearl. So he has a kind of Italian Renaissance portrait, landscape muted in the background, the entire thing, all the angles of the portrait, even a triangle of his foulard, come to that one pearl. And Dr. Boucard, he discovered lactobacillus. He becomes extremely wealthy. Every one of us who eats a yogurt today that has lactobacillus in it, we might think of Dr. Boucard. He's a famous patron of the arts. He's an icon of fashion. You see it. There he is with his symbols of his life, but there's the pearl right in the middle of the green textile to make sure everyone sees the pearl, for the gentleman's pearl. And the pearl can be found all kinds of inspirations. This is an incredible observation that Moon made that she's going to share with you.
Yeah. So paradoxically, the very classical look of the pearl necklace could create a very surprisingly interesting dialogue with a radically modern motif of the era, which was the ball bearing motif. The ball bearing is a mechanical component whose shape and proportions were precisely calculated by engineering aspects. And curiously, these mechanical components inspired many avant-garde artists of the period. As you could see here, Fernand Léger made this poster for the Machine Age exhibition in New York in 1927. You see at the center of the poster the ball-bearing motif. And the young avant-garde designer Charlotte Perriand, she was a kind of icon of female emancipation in Paris in the 1920s. She created the first necklace made of a nickel or chrome-plated brass balls, simply threaded onto wire, as you could see here on the screen. And it has really elemental and machinist appearance that break away from the traditional image of the feminine jewelry, which is usually like delicate and fragile. And it's kind of original reinterpretation of classical pearl necklace. And so this kind of ball-bearing motif was so much appreciated at the period. Even the high-end jewelers embraced this theme. As you could see here, Cartier, Maison Cartier in New York created this bracelet, which was nicknamed by the journalist Laurence Mouille-Farine as ball-bearing bracelet, isn't it? So this kind of bracelet shows very interesting combination of industrial aesthetics and the precious gold.
Absolutely, and that's looking from Moon's observation about ball bearings and pearls to go to look at spectacular left and right. What we're looking at here is how it's indispensable for Art Deco. On the left, Georges Templier, again, the Templier family. There was one of those, there is no Art Deco without the Templier family. Raymond Templier is secretary of the Union d'Artistes Modernes, which is the pantheon of architects and modern artists. One pearl, one unbelievable natural pearl, surmounted, crowned by a diamond with the brilliant cut diamond, only new since 1919, brand new. On the right, a French jeweler, a jabot brooch. So this is going to be used with fabric anywhere on the dress or even the hat or the coat. And we see a symphony of matched natural pearls. We don't see the metal, we see the pearls. So this is something that's going to function. You won't see that tige, that metal stick there. That's going to be stuck into the fabric. You're going to just see fabric and those pearls. Is that something from an Indian bazuban bracelet? Is it something from a Native American design, from a Native American textile? We're not sure, but that's exactly what the creative inspiration of Art Deco and all that it can do. The chapter on America will be short because America didn't come to the 1925 exhibition, and we are celebrating that exhibition while we're talking about how Pearl was the queen of Art Deco. They sent a committee. Americans were good at that. We sent a huge committee of knowledgeable people to make a report. Why didn't we come? We didn't come because our president, Herbert Hoover, said we didn't have modern art and we didn't need to go to a modern art exhibition. Well, we caught up, and that's why the story is aspiration and expansion. If we think of how we caught up, what are we all thinking of? What did the Americans do in the next 5 years? We built skyscrapers. In French, gratter le ciel, scrape. I like it even better in French. We built these skyscrapers. I know this is old news now. All the big buildings are in other parts of the world, but we had the tallest buildings in the world, and we did it in 5 years after the exhibition. So we caught up fast, as we do. And Moon found these two pictures, which I just adore, to talk about pearls in vogue. It's a play on words.
It is. So Art Deco was very rapidly diffused in America, thanks to, in part, to the inspectors or delegates sent to the Paris 1925 exhibitions. This new French aesthetics actually changed their perception on the pearls, influenced by the Art Deco style and also influenced by rapidly changing urban environment with skyscrapers, automobiles, but also the neon light, which could evoke glowing pearls. So all this kind of new environment, new style impacted on how we perceive the pearls. Pearl became very modern element, not only classical element. So as you can see here, on the covers of the Vogue magazines, illustrated by French leading illustrator Georges Lepape, show the fashion-forward women, and the essential accessory of this fashion-forward woman was a single strand necklace, pearl necklace. And one word about the Vogue magazine, which was founded by Condé Nast, still exists, the mass global media company, and they bought Vogue magazine at the end of the 19th century, and then they now have other very leading fashion and decoration magazines.
And it was just an almost bankrupt magazine when he bought it. And of course, Iribe too works for him. So it's all a continuing story of this evolution of the beauty of pearl and the way America expanded with it. We have to talk about that, about 1919, the exchange, 1917 actually, the exchange of a necklace for a house, and not just any house. This is the place, if you look at a window toward the left, third floor up, 2 to the right. I worked there for 15 years. And this is the house of Cartier. And this house was bought in 1917 from the lady on the left, Maisie Plant, and there she is wearing the necklace. It was bought for a necklace, for a pearl necklace, and $100. Maisie Plant was the new wife of a bereaved widow, Morton Plant. Morton Plant had spotted Maisie at a party, fell in love with her, paid her husband some kind of millions of dollars to agree to a friendly divorce. They got married. Maisie wanted this house built. The house was finished, and right away Maisie wanted another house near the new fashionable area. The new fashionable area of New York is up by that new museum, the Metropolitan Museum, up in the 80s of Fifth Avenue. Maisie meets Pierre Cartier at a party. She sees that necklace, and she makes the deal. The necklace for a house, and it's recorded that in 1917, that's how that house was acquired by Cartier. Josephine the American, now she moves to Paris, but we still thought it was important to give her credit in this chapter for being the American and the Parisienne and the Française. In our podcast, we talk about, and Clara and Michiko are going to give you the links for our podcast, because in our podcast, we go further into how she was a hero of World War II. She's in the Pantheon now, finally, which she should be, but she created history. Vogue, again, in 2016, to celebrate her 100th birthday, said that fashion would not be what it is if Josephine had not made the innovations she made for freedom of expression for women and to give women their right to be what they wanted to be, not just on stage, but in life. And that's why with these 3 pictures, we look at her very much in her daily life. Forgive her in the middle for the cigarette. It was, everyone smoked. They thought it was like vitamin C. Soldiers even were given cigarettes in their daily rations along with their meals, a chocolate bar and cigarettes. So she's smoking because she's a modern woman. She has her cloche hat that Moon talked about. She has her clips that could be the clips we looked at in some of our slides. And she has ropes and ropes of pearls. And on the right, she has that famous banana skirt, which is imitated by Beyonce and everyone else today. And you can see it in the museum that's her chateau now, that's in Milan. Yes, I have to go fast. With Josephine, it's very hard for me to go fast. People say, who invented the skirt? Was it Colin? Was it Poiret? Was it even, who knows what? But actually, probably it was Josephine herself. And she invented it to show who she was, to show her power, to show her strength. Streamlined is a way we could look at American Art Deco. And thanks to the fantastic Wilsonian Museum, if you're interested in Art Deco in America, go to the Miami Art Deco district and go to the Wilsonian Museum. The curator Silvia Barisoni gave us this spectacular poster on the right to show us with the World's Fair of 1933 how quickly America caught up. America caught up like the flying of an airplane, and there we have American Airlines. We couldn't resist that airplane soaring over the flight tower. The flight tower itself is completely Art Deco architecture. And in the middle, we have this airplane in rock crystal, perfect. We could go on and on about rock crystal in Art Deco, pearl and platinum. This airplane, we show 2 views. We found it at the TFAF fair, and Vieille Lucie generously gave us the high-def pictures to show you. When we asked Vieille Lucie about the airplane, it's funny because they said, yes, this is an Art Deco piece, but it's American. And we screamed, we said, that's what we want. We're looking for an Art Deco American piece. Because the story is that it's hard to find actual jewelry in the Art Deco period, especially early. You see it after the 30s. You see it up until World War II. But you do see Art Deco, thanks to our friend Iribe again, who's everywhere, in Hollywood. Right, Moon?
Yes, it is. So he played an important role in creating the Art Deco style in Paris in the 1910s, and then he moved to New York and then in Hollywood, and he spread out the French New style in America. And he was hired by Paramount Pictures as an art director, and he dressed fabulously famous actresses such as Gloria Swanson, as you could see here in the movie Male and Female in 1920. She was wearing from head to toe in pearls, and actually Paul Ribe loved using pearls in the costume because he considered the pearl as a sensual and modern element. In the center, you see Colleen Moore, dressed as well by Paul Ribe in the movie Perfect Flapper. So she illustrated the model of modern woman, free, sensual, and independent. And she was also dressed up with pearls by Paul Ribe.
Now you can find these. We're having heat waves all over the world. Go on YouTube and you can find particularly male and female in very good condition because it was reconditioned. And I watched it the other day. It is hilarious. It's like a prefigured, hilarious Downton Abbey. And it's all about the servants being much smarter than the patrons, and all that can happen when they're all marooned on a desert island. Absolutely hilarious. Strongly recommend that you go look in those movies in YouTube. Dreiser and Black Star and Frost. Just quickly to look at places where American jewelers that we may have forgotten were extremely important jewelers, and more work needs to be done to remember them. With the spectacular important sapphire, we see the kind of importance that was put into pearls in this bracelet, which would be worn with that garçon dress. Josephine Baker could have worn it, or anybody of the ladies of that period. 1920, so very early, with the geometric, almost like a geometric chrysanthemum in the clasp. And on the right, we thought the advertising poster was really great. Actually, it's our dear Paul Paradis who found this. He was sitting next to me. We were very frustrated looking for American jewelry. And he said, why not this? Because it's a poster. And it shows you right there, black and white, the haircut, the style of the lady. She clearly has the eyebrows and the makeup. She has the black and white that Moon talked about. Black Star and Frost and Gorham was extremely important on Fifth Avenue. And she has her ropes and ropes and ropes of perfect natural pearls. 1930 America. And the richest girl in the world, Doris Duke. Everyone should have on their bucket list to visit her mansion in Newport. It's there, set up as if she just left. Her phonograph records, her cooking utensils in the kitchen, and here with this spectacular diadem from the Cartier collection that was hers, that she would have worn here on her head when she was the reigning princess of Art Deco. What do we see? We see that one pearl. Okay, you already know, I really love it when one pearl is set off by lots and lots of diamonds. The diamonds are serving the pearl. The geometry. Is it Native American patterns from textiles? I think probably, but maybe not. Maybe it's ancient Greek. Look at all the negative space. The platinum lets the pearls and diamonds breathe, and all of it serves that one pearl in the center. It serves the beauty of that pearl to show us exactly what pearl could be in America. Now, this is something that was probably made, bought in New York by Doris Duke. That's why we're showing a Cartier piece. It's Cartier New York, because Cartier New York had a very important identity, as did Van Cleef & Arpels New York. Very important identity there. We said in the very beginning, without Asia, no Art Deco, didn't we? It's a dialogue between eras, but it's also a dialogue between cultures. It's a literal, you could even say a literal transfusion of fresh inspiration and fresh blood, because the princes, the Indian Maharajas, come to the 1925 exhibition. They love what they see. They hire the different artists. For example, the Maharaja of Andar hired architects and designers to make his palace modern in India. They also come literally with chests and trunks of jewels, and they say, restyle these in the new style. The Maharaja of Patiala, first man to have an airplane in his country, great polo player, fleet of Rolls Royces that he once notoriously used to collect the garbage when he didn't like the garbage collection. Very, very colorful man, huge in height, and you can see he loved his pearls and his diamonds. In the middle, the Maharaja of Andor, and on the right, so we have the two aspects. On the right, he's in his completely traditional garb. In the middle, he's a star. He could be a movie star, Movie star is really, that's the media star. It's the beginning of this media explosion. And he wears his pearl shirt studs because every great elegant gentleman had to have his evening costume, his tux, we call it in English, with his pearl shirt studs. On the right, he has the very famous necklace that is another subject for another day. Indian style, how literally, remember what I said, blood transfusion in, Indian style. The Maharaja of Patiala comes with trunks and trunks of jewels, and I must say also dozens of wives, and he wanted jewelry for all the wives. So here is this wife in the middle, Maharani of Patiala, not looking too happy in that picture, but decorated in the most exquisite way with the necklace we see on the right. This would be jewels from Patiala remade for her by Cartier. That's 3 necklaces actually, 1, 2, 3. The choker, the middle necklace, and the bottom bib. All just pearls and rubies, pearls and rubies. And then look at her arms. Her arms are completely Roaring 20s. She has very, very modern European Roaring 20s platinum and diamond jewels. And on the left, so perfect, simply the design. It was executed. But this is another necklace that was executed with the pearl and ruby kind of symphony. Look at just the paisleys. Look at just the tassels. A multiplicity of exquisite pearls, and then that way of incarnating what the style is of that period. And of course, without Mikimoto, we don't have that giant change that happens in pearl history. He didn't actually invent cultured pearls, but he certainly is the person who was one of the inventors of the round cultured pearl and who made it what it is today, yes. Incontestably.
Sure, and Mikimoto was not only the inventor of technique of the cultured pearls, but also the founder of Mikimoto House, jewelry house, that was present at the International Exhibition in Paris in 1925. The house showed a simple classical pearl necklace in this showcase. But then at the same time on this occasion, the Mikimoto House learned from the French emerging new style that they integrated very rapidly in their creations. So as you could see here in the clips in 1930s by Mikimoto's house, we could notice this geometry and clean lined volumes characteristic of the Art Deco. And at the Paris International 1937 exhibition, Mikimoto House showed this very revolutionary transformable jewel, geometric and contrasted color. Above all, it could be worn as a belt buckle or pendant, brooch, and also brooch and pendant, and many different ways. So it was very revolutionary at the period to be able to wear one jewel in different ways.
And Mikimoto is incredibly important for your theme of democratization, because it makes pearls available, known, understood, and loved all around the world. Culture pearls and natural pearls, it's a love story that works perfectly together. And very, very important to recognize what Mikimoto accomplished. That said, our dear friend Emily Storer at the Boston Museum of Art, thanks to you finding these pictures and needing high def versions, gave us these pieces that you wanted to tell us about.
Because Art Deco, beyond the world of jewelry, Art Deco penetrates all the fields of art in Japan, as you could see here in the graphic arts as well. So this Serenade, Ginza Serenade record cover, you could see this Parisian garçon with a cloche hat and very bold makeup and a cocktail glass in hand, just a hallmark of new fashionable woman in Paris featuring on this cover. And even the kanji, Japanese characters, were stylized according to the new principles of Art Deco typography, which is simplified and elongated features. And on the right, you have this new year's card showing 2 women, Japanese women, wearing modernized kimonos with geometrical motifs and contrasting colors. And they both have a short haircut, garçon, iconic garçon features, and they are both wearing pearl earring, which had become like the essential trend of fashionable women even in Japan.
indispensable,
indispensable, yeah.
And absolutely, we cannot forget, we have some fabulous discussions already online about Art Deco and Asia, specifically China. But here Moon picked some pieces that she'd like to tell us about.
Yeah, so in China too, these Gaston fashions and the pearl necklaces were spread out as an icon of modernity, as you could see here on the poster for cosmetic projects conserved in Hong Kong Heritage Museum. This very provocative woman with the arms behind the head, which is really essential for the time. She's wearing a single strand pearl necklace as a symbol of the modernity that she wants to show to the world. And at the same time, many fashion magazines in Paris were showing the latest fashion emerging up in Beijing and Shanghai, as you could see here in an article entitled The Mode Pékin, issue of September 1920, Femina, French fashion magazine. We could see the Chinese young women wearing qipao, which is modernized Chinese traditional costumes, and they all have this short haircut and wearing both of them pearl accessories.
So it's the China style being copied and examined with minutiae attention by French and, of course, the world, because everybody's following France. We are ending with two designs, and we thought that the designs are a perfect way to talk about all the different aspects of Asia that come into the flowering of creativity that happens during this period. And with these designs, you can see how there's no Art Deco without Asia, the same way there's no Art Deco without Africa or without Native America. And here we have spinels that look like little canopies. We have jades, of course, and jade becomes very much the stone of Art Deco because it's the Chinese gem. We have lotus flowers that could go to Tutankhamun. That's another aspect we talk about in the course. We have the sort of Chinese flowering objects coming out of those two pendants. We have the clock with so many different details. Right, Moon? And even the
pearls.
Yeah, and of course the pearls, yes.
They mark the
Everywhere.
kind of a balanced point in this contrasted colors and geometric shapes. Yeah,
the pearls, exactly. And also the forms, the big clips, the big pendants, the big earrings, and the clock. Everyone's fascinated with clocks. We end with a quote from the time, from an interesting book written by Paul Claudel, the poet, The Mystique of Precious Stones. From all sides it radiates, not like the diamond, that geometric pentacle, we talked about geometry, with that hard and piercing fire. It's something amiable, suave, unctuous, affectionate. I was going to say human. And on the right, that Van Cleef & Arpels advertising, that poster, I prefer to say just poster because it's a work of art, people collect them, with a lady perfectly dressed for the period, 1924, her flowing, shapeless dress set off by pearl belt, ropes of pearls that she's just playing with out of that shell. The hair is tailored, and she has the long dangling earrings, and she has the geometric floor that's in perfect perspective underneath her, and she's just reveling in the pearls. To go further, also, we have Art and Science of Pearls, we have the visit inside the exhibition. Michiko and Clara have given you the links for our talks. Please take advantage of our talks. Here's the book. We also want to give credit to Bev Hillier, a young man who in the 60s wrote a book called Art Deco, and we actually can, this is one time we can use French words without feeling embarrassed with an English accent, because it was an English speaker who dubbed it Art Deco. It was l'Exposition Internationale des Arts Décoratifs et Industriels et Modernes, and people thought of it as moderne. They didn't think of it as Art Deco. It really was those books. So Paris, the City of Pearls is a great book to get. Our talks, take advantage of our talks. We have more than 100 videos online for you. Take advantage of that. Or join us again if you want to practice your French at 7 p.m. Paris time tonight. Now, in case anyone has any questions, we're all set. And I'm going to look for my questions that are going to come through from Clara and Michiko and share them with Moon. So what do we have? We have, first of all, the first question. Talking about the origin of natural pearls during Art Deco. Were the pearls used during the Art Deco period natural pearls from places like Bahrain? Well, I can answer that one quickly and refer to you exactly here, that yes. These were pearls coming from the Gulf area. This was the result, and this book is a result of years and years of research by Leonard Puy and Guillaume Gloria and all the research department at Ecole. And you can get an idea. They kept it light, and it's in French and English, but it could be even more. It's very comprehensive, and it tells an extremely documented story of very original research showing you how Paris was this center of friendship and alliance, a special kind of alliance made between all the Gulf states, the Gulf region, including Bahrain, including Kuwait, including what's now the Emirates, and to bring those pearls in a partnership to Paris. Without that, you can't have those jewels. The jewels are possible because there are literally 100 women in 300 different companies stringing pearls every single day. When you think that there were pearls like this necklace that was in the exhibition, natural pearls nowadays, it could take decades for a family, generations of a family, to make one necklace like that now. So it's just stupefying, and that's an excellent, excellent question. I have a question about the ball-bearing necklace. There were 25 balls on the necklace, and at least each ball must be at least 1 centimeter in size. Was it heavy? I think Charlotte Perriand wore it. And
she
were they not made with the...
Yeah, she wore it all the time. You could see many photographs of her with this necklace, actually. It was heavy because it was made of balls of brass plated with nickel and chrome. So brass is quite heavy metal. So I think it was heavy, but it was wearable.
If you know who Charlotte Perriand was, if you don't know, please research her. Unbelievable. And to use the word that's related to that, strong woman.
Strong, avant-garde woman.
Built her own house that all the architects wanted to come and copy in the south of France. Invented the Perriand chair. A lot of the other famous architects copied a lot from her.
Yes. She was assistant of Le Corbusier as well. Yeah, before.
She's really our hero. So it would make sense that she would wear a heavy, strong necklace.
Strong, yeah.
And I love that question. Black Star and Frost poster. Could we take another look at the black and white advertising painting? It's the slide before Doris Duke. If you could explain it a little more in detail. Well, first of all, it's going to be online. This is what I suggest. The lecture will be online, and I'm going to paint you a word picture because I know it forever and ever. It's extremely important. The reason why it's important to us, all black, and then the white pearls. So black and white. Remember what Moon told you about black and white. The woman has a strong geometric sculptural face, almost like a mask. She has the penciled eyebrows and the strong, sharp lipstick. So she's that woman of that time. Remember, women had really fought for the right to wear makeup. Wearing makeup was a statement of strength and liberation. 20 years before, girls would be sent back and have their faces scrubbed with a pumice stone so that it would hurt for wearing makeup. So they're wearing makeup and they're using jewelry that works with makeup. And the fact is that just black and white, just the graphic, celebrates the pearl in a very unique way. It's hard to photograph pearls. We look at photographs of pearls, but the best way to really appreciate pearls is to first look at them and most of all touch them. So when you see a black and white poster like that, and graphic art becomes so much, first in Art Nouveau, but then again in Art Deco, black and white graphic art is so much a part of the new world. Oh, thank you. That's thanks to Laurent and his champion team. There it is. So there it is to look at it. I hope that helps. And you can also look at it online because it's going to be online forever on L'Ecole Talks. Let's see.
Museum for Art Deco?
The next one is, at the time, were the designs done by Japanese designers at Mikimoto or Western designers? I think both, but I think that's to go further.
Yeah.
I'm really not sure.
I guess by Japanese designers, but I'm not sure about it.
Actually, you bring up a very good point. You bring up an excellent point that Florent Guéry really drives home in the class that we give. It's a 3-part class, an hour and a half each. This exhibition was really the first time, a little bit in Art Nouveau, but especially at this exhibition, that names of people making and names of people designing were pushed to the forefront. Because before that, it was the house. And you didn't know exactly. We have a 4-hour class on the history of jewelry design where we talk about that mostly you would know the name of the house, you wouldn't know the name of the designer. That's a great question, maybe to go further and for another time. Was the pearl also significantly used in the Art Nouveau phase? Oh, yes. In a very different way, but very much the same way in a sort of way. Because Baroque pearl was the icon. Because with Baroque pearl, you could build an animal around it, or a dragon, or an owl, or an angel, or a woman. A Baroque pearl, the reason, do you know why Baroque pearls called Baroque? Do you know why Baroque music, Baroque art, Baroque architecture exists? Baroque is a word for pearl. It means, it's a Portuguese and Italian derivation of the word for irregularly shaped pearl. So the Art Nouveau artist would do that. The Art Deco artist creates these geometric compositions and these style compositions. In fact, Moon and I are working on another topic, which is how Art Deco influenced all of life in the lifestyle.
Yeah.
So perfect question, really interesting. Oh, here we have a question in French. I don't know if I should say it in French or was it mostly a question of natural pearls at the time? Il s'agissait principalement de perles fines à l'époque and très peu de perles de couture, very few cultured pearls. Quand est apparue la perle de couture sur le marché, s'il vous plaît? When did cultured pearl? Cultured pearl arrives in the market exactly thanks to Mikimoto. He's the champion of that. He fights lawsuits all across the world, America, Europe, everywhere, to get cultured pearl recognized. So cultured pearl really starts to flow into the market after the 1925 exhibition, and it's really not until after World War II. The 30s it begins, but we have World War II. And then after World War II, and that's why we see things like Marilyn Monroe with her Mikimoto necklace. That's another podcast. Tune into our podcast. There's a great podcast about Marilyn Monroe and her love present from the great love of her life, the great baseball player Joe DiMaggio.
Any museum for Art Deco, and any ideas of places or museums in France or abroad to see major pieces of Art Deco? There is the Musée des Arts Décoratifs in Paris.
Yes. There's the Wolfsonian in Miami.
Wolfsonian in Torino.
Yeah.
As well.
And there's
Genova. Sorry.
Genoa. There is. What else?
There are also
the Schmuck Museum in Forsheim.
And le Musée des années 30.
Oh, the Musée des années 30 in Boulogne-Billancourt. Yes, Boulogne-Billancourt, not an easy. Yeah. Musée des années 30, the museum of the 1930s. Excellent.
Excellent. And there are many Art Deco exhibitions going on this year to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Art Deco. So the Musée des Arts Déco, they have one starting in October. Also in Milano, the exhibition we saw on the Art Deco.
It was so great. It was Italian Art Deco, but we can't send you there now, but you could get the catalog. All Italian Art Deco. It opened up a whole world to me. Moon knows a lot about it. I didn't. I learned it with her.
And what else?
Who is the great jeweler of Art Deco? Ravazzo is his name? The Italian jeweler of Art Deco. Ravasco, yeah. Just fantastic.
Yes, fantastic.
I can't think of any others at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's a great question.
Correct.
I think mostly, like Moon said, make focus on the exhibitions. Golden pearl from Southeast Asia. When does the golden pearl from Southeast Asia become popular? It seldom came into the poster average. No, because it's now the national gem of the Philippines. And it's really thanks to tremendous innovation by Jacques Brunelec and his Philippine partner. It's a friendship of a French pilot who actually moved to create jeweler pearls in the Philippines and really you have to breed. With cultured pearls, it's like breeding racehorses. You find the characteristics in the shell and what causes the pearl to be made golden or to be whatever color, and you actually breed the oysters to select to make them more and more golden. It's something that happened naturally, and you can find golden pearls throughout history, and you can find them even in Art Deco jewelry. But the actual cultured pearl golden is a more recent phenomenon. All of cultured pearls is really something that blossomed in terms of Tahitian and other parts of the world besides Japan, really after the 70s and 80s and through our period. But the golden pearl is a whole story for a whole beautiful love story of the Philippines and the golden pearl and preservation of reefs and all that happens by farming golden pearls in the Philippines. Subject for another day. I think we're almost done. Was that our last question? So stay tuned for our next talks. Stay tuned for all and use our L'École playlist, please, and our podcast. And thank you so much for joining us. It was such a joy to share Moon with you for the first time. That was her debut with us. And thank you to the team, Clara, Laurent, his team, and Michiko. See you next time.
See you next time.